Rengoku Kyojuro, the Flame Hashira, and series best boy of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. So what have we got here today? We're taking a short break from devil hunting and taking a gander at demon slaying. Huh. Welcome to My Wife is the MC. I'm DMV and you're watching Husbando Homebrew, a show where we take pop culture to pen and paper. Today I've got a fighter subclass for you oxygen homies out there with a warrior of breath archetype. This subclass is based on the breathing techniques of the demon slayers, and for this video specifically, we're delving into the fire breathing techniques of series best boy Rengoku Kyojuro. Before we take a look at the subclass features, make sure you decapitate that like button, and if this archetype makes your passion burn, then roast that subscribe button like a demon in the sun. And without further ado, let's take a look at those features. Part 1. Senses and Breathing. The Warrior of Breath is a fighter trained in specialized breathing techniques and magically manifesting the visualization of their art. So quick aside as to why I named this as such. I could have named it the Demon Slayer archetype, but the thing is, I've got other subclasses in the pipeline based on other characters that don't exactly fit the malleable mold of the fighter. So, first feature, Keen Sense. This is my take on how some top-tier demon slayers have at least one super sense, like smelling or hearing. I included passive perception as well, given how the likes of Tanjiro kept just sniffing stuff without having to ask for a check. Next is breathing technique. This is the core feature of the subclass and is patterned a bit after the Battle Master archetype, which explains its numerous properties. First property is breathing style. This is where you get to choose which kind of demon slayer you'll be. For the purposes of this video, we're looking at Rengoku's fire breathing technique. Concentrated breathing. This adds a few uses to the fighter's second wind feature. Why, you might ask? Well, I like the idea of second wind being a representation of the breathing abilities used by the demon slayers. This property also puts you in that state of concentrated breathing until the end of your next turn. During this time, you can use your fancy forms. You also gain temp HP if you regain HP more than your maximum hit points, and you gain the benefits of whatever breathing form you have. Speaking of forms, that's the last property of this feature. You learn the breathing form of your chosen element, and the first 4 forms at 3rd level, then the next 3 forms at 7th level, and the last forms at 10th level. Like Battle Master maneuvers, however, your forms might need a saving throw, so you get a wisdom-based saving throw DC. Let's look at the first 4 forms that you have access to at 3rd level. 1st to 4th forms. Small warning for folks who haven't seen the Mugen Train movie or the first part of Season 2 of the anime. So when you use your second wind, you gain access to your forms and can unleash them until the end of your next turn. So if you want to use your forms more often, make sure to bump up your wisdom. One more thing about forms is that most of them add on top of your attacks. You can use one form per attack and you can't use the same form consecutively. It's like a dance, you know. You can't do the pivot step twice in a row, you'd look silly and you might just trip. So first is breathing form, which always takes effect whenever you use your second wind. For fire breathing, you and allies within 10 feet of you get a +2 bonus to strength and dexterity saves until the end of your next turn. First form, Unknowing Fire. Move 10 feet forward and step on the champion archetype's toes and get a chance to crit on a 19 or 20 on the die. Second form, Rising Scorching Sun. Give yourself a second chance at an attack by adding 1d6 to your attack roll, potentially turning that miss into a hit. Third form, Blazing Universe. Move 10 feet forward to step on the rogue's toes by not triggering opportunity attacks and dealing an extra d6 fire damage. Fourth form, Blooming Flame Undulation. After making an attack, you increase your AC equal to your Wizmod against the next attack. So those are the forms you get at 3rd level. Let's move on and see the 7th level features. Part 2. Deep Breath. Let's take a breather and take a look at your 7th level features. Total Concentration Breathing. This feature lets you breathe, but harder. This adds a few things to your second wind. First, you get maximum healing from the die roll. Second, any effects from poison get suppressed for 1 minute. Third, and the best one, you cast the haste spell on yourself, which lasts until the end of your next turn. You can use this once per short or long rest. So what forms do you get at this level? Well, let's find out. 5th to 7th forms. Again, small Mugen Train or Season 2 Part 1 spoiler warning. 5th form, Flame Tiger. When you take the attack action, replace one of your attacks by releasing, Flaming Tiger in a line, immolating several fools in the way for 2d6 fire damage. 6th form, Vengeful Flame. No, don't look up the wiki, I totally didn't make this up. I'm kidding. This is something I had to wield a bit of creativity for since Rengoku never performed the 6th to 8th forms. Anyway, when you're hit by an attack, use your reaction to light your sword on fire. Roast the next fool you hit before the end of your next turn with 2d8 fire damage. 7th form, Cutting Embers. Use your reaction to strike first and deal an additional 1d8 fire damage on a hit. Even if you missed on the attack, your would-be attacker now needs to re-roll their attack and take the lower result. Halfway through to your character sheet, let's pause for a smidge and look at your 10th level features. At 10th level you get Total Concentration Constant. This one lets you breathe harder. Constantly! You move a bit faster and it takes a lot to drown you or suffocate you. Now, remember when you had to use Second Wind to use your fancy forms? This one allows you to use your 1st to 7th forms once on each of your turns so you can be flashy all the time. 10th level is a big level as you learn your final forms and you get 2 different features. The second of which is Recovery Breathing. Did you look at a hot Ara Ara demon too much and she hit you hard enough to stun you? Well, just take a deep breath and start running for your life. Costs 1 use of Second Wind though. Now let's take a look at Rengoku's 8th and 9th forms. All aboard the Mugen Train spoiler. 8th form, Burning Passion. This is another Husbando Homebrew original. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks and instead take a very impressive stance. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you until the end of your next turn. And your next attack also gets advantage. Finally, the 9th and final form, Rengoku. I sure hope you have Fizban's Treasury of Dragons for this one. First, you take the attack action and cast a Chardalon Stride on yourself as a flaming dragon trails around you until the end of your next turn. I won't post the spell's effects here, but a quick Google search would probably get you the right result. In addition to the spell, the next time you hit before the spell ends, you deal an additional 48 fire damage. This is a special form that you can only use once whenever you use Second Wind. Now that you've seen all the forms that fire breathing offers, let's now look at the final 2 subclass features. Part 3, Peak Demon Slayer. Know that at this point I'll be delving into spoiler manga territory. Be sure to check out the timestamps below for the danger zones, okay? I hope you don't click off, but if you do, be sure to check the description down below for a link to the document, which might contain light spoilers. Light spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath! At 15th level, you get Repetitive Action. This allows you to regain 1 use of your Second Wind or Total Concentration Breathing, but with a risk. DC 15 Wiz Save to regain usage or take a disadvantage hit on your next Wiz Save within the hour. Once per long rest if you succeed. At last, 18th level, the final subclass feature. You get Demon Slayer Mark. This one adds the final option that you can take when you use your Second Wind feature. When you use it, you can choose to cast Tenser's Transformation, which lasts until the end of your next turn. This is a once-a-day feature and definitely your panic button for when things get really hairy. Now that you've seen all the features, the next logical step is... Part 4. Create your character sheet. Well, that was quite a journey. I certainly hope you enjoyed the first of several upcoming Demon Slayer content. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to showcase Tanjiro next, or if you're more interested in series Best Girl Inosuke, or the other series Best Girl, Shinobu Kocho. Don't worry, the Devil May Cry Homebrew series isn't over just yet. Remember to check out the description down below for the Ko-Fi link document. You can also find us in the usual social spaces where we post our updates. If this is something you enjoyed, why not share it to your older brother and like the video while you're at it? And if this is your first time here, I encourage you to check out our other stuff that hopefully convinces you to subscribe. We got homebrew stuff and even a homebrew Gundam campaign. As always, thank you for being here and I appreciate you for making it to the end of the video. This has been My Wife is DMC. I'm DMV and I'll see you in the next Husbando Homebrew.